What is going on, everybody? This is Jackson, Andrew, Steven, and Chase from Dinger Dudes. Welcome to episode 6. Today, we have a very special guest with us from Wool Sports Network, the University of West Georgia, Mr. Jason Barker. Jason, thank you so much for taking time to join the show, man. How's your
Yeah,
summer been?
man. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on. I'm an honorary dinger dude, and I'm proud of it.
Ooh,
Honorary Dinger
man.
Dude. This guy is also the leader in our fantasy baseball league after making
He is,
tons
man.
of different
Hey,
trades. And you know, he said he's never lost a fantasy baseball league. It could be true this season. How
this
do you
is
feel
true.
your
This
team
is true.
right now?
You said, how do I feel about my team?
Yeah, how do you feel about your team?
I mean, it's strong, dude. I'm a big
Oh my
believer in
God.
like pitching.
Chase, I'm
What?
sorry. I'm so sorry, Jason. I just noticed Chase's background.
Sorry, yeah.
What?
No, and I find it so funny how Jackson did the intro so casually without even paying any attention. What
That didn't mean
is
like a voice
my
ago.
take? Oh, dude, that's
Sorry.
Jason, how
perfect.
is your
Crazy.
team doing? How do you feel your team is
Oh,
doing?
That's wild. Um, that was wild.
sorry, man. I'm sorry, Jason. You go. Yeah, I had to do it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off your point.
Hey, no, but I feel good about my team. I'm a big believer in like centering your team around pitching, and that's exactly what I've done. I mean, I feel like I have, on the top I got Burns and I got Yamamoto. I was hoping for a good season for Yamamoto. He's on the injured list, unfortunately, right now, but he's gonna come back, gonna make my team even stronger. I lost this week, but I'm not gonna make excuses like Jackson Bowles, but I am without, Mookie Betts and Yamamoto. And then I've had pieces. I had Strider, at the beginning of the season bounce out. I had Strider, which is crazy to think about. My team could have Spencer Strider right now, but it's looking good, and I made trades to bolster that lineup up top. And I feel good about it. I feel very centered. I feel very good.
I just want to point out if you go look at like the trade analyzer or whatever that's on the fantasy app that kind of shows all the trades that's been made in the league, Jason Barker has been involved in almost every single trade from the start of the season before the first MLB game even happened. This man Jason was out here making moves. And I do want to say, Jason, you're naming all the amazing pitchers that you have at hand, but the one guy you do not have anymore is Shota Imanaga because that man belongs to me, Jason. And
That's true. That's true.
just
Gote?
imagine your team.
Shote?
I said that wrong.
Shote. It's like a Shoshi Otani all over again.
Guys,
Sosi
listen.
Otani?
I want you to know I'm on vacation right now. I got the beautiful state of Florida behind me. My mind has not been on baseball these last few days, so excuse me if I have a couple slip
Hey,
ups.
while we're talking about Jason making trades, Jason, we remember that early season blockbuster trade that we had going on where you gave me Contreras, who was responsible for your amazing comeback that you had
Yeah.
against me when we played. And then I gave you
Right.
Chris Sale, who has been absolutely unbelievable since I traded
Dude,
him away.
I like I owe that a little bit to Gavin. Like, remember, I was kind of on the fence
You
about that
were.
trade. I didn't know. And then Gavin was the one that was like, you know what? Just throw in Sale. I was like, oh, hey, Sale, you okay? And you're like, yes, yes, yes. You were on the Contreras train. And he's kind of died
Dude.
down in the second half
He
a
had,
little bit.
and
He's kind of on a cold stretch.
I
So
forget I
Hey,
gave you Corbin Burns too,
you
man. Like
did.
that was really like a massive trade on your end.
I mean, it was. And like y'all said, like I've given away in some trades, like Imanaga was a big one. I gave away Bryce Harper in a trade and Freddie Freeman.
I
At
want to talk
times
about.
I did that to center my team around pitching. And my first baseman right now is Cody Bellinger. So I
And
feel
Mookie
like over the
Betts.
trades, and I have Mookie Betts. So yeah. So and then Tovar, I picked up Tovar immediately when I found out that that Betts was out, and he's been serviceable. He's no Betts, but he's definitely been great. And I mean, the team is very well centered. I have Sean Murphy and Ryan Jeffers right now rotating for catcher, and that's the only extra position player I have on my team. The rest of my bench is filled
Is
with pitchers.
pitching.
So
J-
that's the and oh, by the way, no relief pitchers. No relief pitchers. I don't vibe with that. Because if I can leave one spot open for a rotational pitcher, like if I see that I don't know, Reed Detmers or whatever is pitching against Oakland, I'm gonna pick that guy up and have him that one start a week. And a relief pitcher might give you, I don't know, a really like good week for a relief pitcher may give you like 20 points. But if you switch out a good pitcher with a strong matchup twice a week, that could be 40 points right there, easy. So you
You know,
just got to play
Jason,
matchup. You got to be paying attention. Fantasy baseball, it's a long stretch. It's much harder than fantasy football because they play every day. So you really got to be paying attention. You got to be on the ball, and you're in for the long haul.
I want to
Jason,
talk about
great minds
another
think
trade.
alike, man. Great minds think
Hey,
alike because I'm on the same train when it comes to relief pitching, man.
hey, I want to talk about another trade that Mr. Jason Barker made earlier this season with Gavin Ellis.
Yeah.
Gavin traded away Stephen Kwan, Spencer Torkelson, and Luis Castillo to Jason Barker. And Jason Barker gave up Michael Harris, Bobby Miller, CJ Abrams, and Jackson Holiday.
Yeah.
And we see Michael Harris injured. Bobby Miller's been injured. Jackson
Yeah.
Holiday had a terrible start to his MLB career, has been in
Yeah.
AAA
He's in
ever
the
since.
minors.
Yeah, the only serviceable player is CJ Abrams. So it's basically Stephen Kwan, Spencer Torkelson, and Luis Castillo for CJ Abrams.
I mean,
That's oh,
I was banking on Holiday not being good. I was banking on him. Like, I need to sell him. The hype's all around him. I need to get him out of here, like right now. And it paid off. And so that worked out. Torkelson, nobody has Torkelson right now, I don't believe. I don't have Torkelson. Bobby Miller's on the waivers right now. So I mean, yeah, Castillo has not been the greatest, but Quan has been like one of the best outfielders in baseball, fantasy wise, and I mean real wise. I mean, I love seeing the hype that he's getting. Finally, Cleveland, their small market team, their players. J Ram for the longest time had the hardest time getting global attraction. So it's good to see Quan getting up there. You can really see that in the All Star voting. So that's been cool to see.
And it's really funny. First of all, how dare you, Gavin, trade away Stephen Kwan? That's your own blood, man. That's your own flesh and blood. But I
No
mean,
way.
listen. But let's talk
See,
about
it's
Stephen
funny.
Kwan for a minute. Let's talk about Stephen Kwan for a minute because
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Jason. The way that he completely transforms a fantasy team is kind of mind-boggling because he's like. In my opinion, he's an inflated Luis Arias because he's a consistent hitter. I mean, his batting average is going to stay
It's a
above
368 right
300.
now.
Yeah, and it's gonna flirt with the 400 from time to time because that man gets on base multiple times a game by all means necessary. He's not a power hitter. You're not gonna see his ball sail over the fence like Aaron Judge, but he's a contact hitter, and that's what baseball needs
Yeah.
more of: guys that can produce runs through getting contact hits. And I love Stephen Kwan. I mean,
Really?
I don't know if y'all know what Beat the Streak is, but basically, if you download the MLB app,
He's the guy.
you can do yeah, you can play this game called Beat the Street where you have to predict a player to get a hit, and that gives you a point if he gets a hit that day. And my go-to guy is always Stephen Kwan,
Dude,
because
you're
he's
on
always
a roll,
gonna
man.
get you a hit. I mean, it's consistent, but yeah, that was
So
my little praise for Stephen Kwan because
I just
he
wanted
definitely
to
deserves it.
transition real quick because there was a matchup within the Dinger Dudes group here this past week. It was me versus Jackson Bowles. Now, if y'all recall, if y'all have watched previous episodes, Jackson was bragging about how he's had success against me in the previous matchups of our fantasy matchups in fantasy football. He beat me there. He had a higher position than me there. But this past week, Jackson, it didn't go well for you, did it there, Bucko?
No. Do you want to know
Jackson.
why?
Yeah, Jackson, please give us some insight. Break down what
You
happened in y'all's
remember-
matchup.
Do you remember on an episode of Sports Out of Pocket where I said Gavin's bed crapped the bed?
Yes.
You
What does that
remember
have to do with it now?
So this
I
is
actually-
related.
I actually don't remember that. I just said yes, but I really
You
don't
do?
remember that.
Well, my bed crapped the bed. My team crapped the bed. Mick Glovin, every time I change my name, I think it works. It does not work.
When does it ever work?
I was about to say, when's changing your name
I
ever
have
worked
on
out
my
for
team.
He
Yeah,
can't find
I
his
still
identity.
have on my team.
you?
Fits the
And
culture.
he's been really disappointing this season. And my current outfield right now is Teoscar Hernandez, Luis Rengifo, and Alec Burleson, which they're serviceable. They're all better than Julio. Anybody want Julio Rodriguez on this board on this
No,
outfield?
you've been trying to
Absolutely
ship
not.
him
Y'all
since
can keep him.
you've been trying to ship him since the start of May, Jackson, and
I
still you
should
can't
have
find
I
a
should have honestly traded with Jason Barker. I think Jason froze.
Oh, well, while Jason is froze, I don't think he's froze. I think he just got bored by the outfield you just named. But since we're talking about matchups, Chase, I want you to talk about what went down in your and Jackson's matchup because that
Hey.
needs to be noted.
Hey.
That needs to be talked
That was
about.
already talked about last episode.
No,
No, it
that's it.
wasn't. No, it
We didn't
wasn't.
talk. We didn't do fantasy last episode. But listen, Jackson. I actually, Andrew, I'm glad you said that because I pulled up some receipts for you. This was said about Jackson Volt on the Sunday of June 23rd when he texted me on the day that our final day where Jackson was up by like 25 at this point. He texted me and he goes, Chase, you're 4-8, buddy. I'm 5-7. I'm about to be 6-7. I'm better than you at every position. And that day, I proceeded
Besides
to score
catcher.
90. I proceeded to score 90 points on his head. I knocked Jackson down, and now I'm sitting at what am I, 6-8, 6-8 with a chance to get a 7-8. Jackson is sitting right below me in the standings. And Jackson, last time I checked, you, buddy, have a 3% chance to now make the postseason. And my percentage actually went up with Wyatt beating Jason because let me check the standings just to be sure this is accurate. But yeah, Jason only stands 4 games ahead of me, and there's 8 weeks left. So if I can somehow make it 4 games in these last 8 weeks, yes, it's gonna be hard to do. But I mean, don't count me out. Like my team is heating up at the right time possible. I'm like the Philadelphia Phillies.
We got
I
to
hate to
talk
say it.
about some of the players that have just been doing incredible these last few weeks. My team's kind of taken an uprise here. I've lost against Wyatt. That's my only loss in the last
So is
Everybody's lost
everybody's.
against Wyatt.
Except me. I'm the only one who's never lost to
Um,
Wyatt.
but yeah, I beat Wyatt in my first matchup. I just lost in the second one. But there's a pickup that I had that I didn't realize how good he's been in the last few weeks. Hunter Brown for the Houston Astros has really picked it up in the summer part of the season. I mean, just if y'all want to go look him up real quick, his last few matchups, he's had uh 13, 21, 27, 17, 22, and 20 today. So when I picked him up, I really didn't think he was going to be that guy. He was just going to be a place filler for me, basically, just putting him in there for just until the next guy that I find, like on a Sunday or whatever. If I need some points, I'll release him. But right now, the way he's going, yeah, I'm not going to release him. The one guy that does need to pick it up right now is Marcus Stroman. He is so inconsistent. It's like
Yeah.
it's a week to week thing for him. Like 1 week he'll get 17 points, and then the next week he's back down to like either -2 or he's back down to the negatives, or he's getting like 2 points.
And
So
you know, you can see that struggle come out of him emotionally. We saw that clip of him against the Blue Jays when the Yankees didn't ground that double play and the frustration, the emotion that came out of him. And then I liked his response to that afterwards, saying that he's out there trying his best. He loves the team. He loves every part of that team, and he's out there to compete. So he's a competitor at heart. And I think because of that competitiveness that's inside of him, he's gonna figure it out. I guarantee you that by the end of July, early August, Stroman's going to be the old Marcus Stroman we remember.
I guess it's just been a tough month emotionally for pitchers in, June because we saw, yesterday in yesterday's game against the Cubs and the Brewers, Justin Steele got very fired up at the Cubs dugout because the Brewers were scoring runs off soft contact hits that he thought that his infield should have done a better job or made
Which
better
it should have.
plays.
Which it
Yeah.
should
Oh,
have.
Jason's coming back. Good.
I actually do want to talk about that, Andrew.
Well, go ahead.
As y'all know, Justin Steele is on my team.
Mhm.
And Justin Steele, he played great. He played 1 game and he had 6 strikeouts, 0 hits, 0 runs, then gets injured, out for like a good month. I keep him on my bench. Justin Steele had a great season last season, going like 13-3, 13-5. And I think Steele's a great pitcher. He's a really solid pitcher. Problem is the bats can't get it together. He's 0-3, 70 strikeouts and with a 3.20 ERA. A 3.20 ERA is not bad. He averages like 18, 19 points per game the past 4 or 5 games besides last game. And it's just, I don't know. I understand why Justin Steele was frustrated, and I've been trying to send him off. What's crazy is I tried to send him to Christian, and I offered
Oh
Christian.
gosh.
I
He could use some
offered
help.
Christian, Justin Steele, and Luis Rengifo, right? All Christian's pitchers average 12 points and under. Steele averages 13.5. That would be better than any of Christian's pitchers. And I asked Luis Rengifo and Justin Steele for Christian Walker because at the time Mountcastle wasn't doing that good. So and he said that's a bad move for me. You have Spencer Steer starting at your first base. He said he wanted Ronel Blanco instead. I'm not giving you my best pitcher and one of my best outfielders, in my opinion, one of the most underrated outfielders in the MLB in Luis Rengifo, who hits for like a 317, a 320 average and gives you 2.5 points per game. I'm not giving you that for a Christian Walker who you have as a bench player.
I mean, no, you're absolutely right. And I'm actually playing Christian this week. The first day of the matchup was today, actually, because it refreshes every Monday. But what's funny about something I noticed about Christian is usually I like to have a rotation starter at least one pitch every single day throughout the week, just so I at least have a guaranteed chance to produce 20 plus points if I'm lucky. But today it was such a slow day in the MLB. I mean, there was very few teams. Less than half of the MLB teams were playing today.
I'm pretty
So
sure
I
it was
was,
just 5 games.
yeah. So I was thinking, I was like, I'm gonna be okay. Thank goodness I'm playing Christian because I'm gonna be okay having to forfeit a starter today on Monday because I can afford it because of how gosh awful Christian's team is. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. But take a look at his outfield. I mean, before all the injuries kind of ran wild on his team, he had Kyle Tucker that was sitting out there. Of course, it's not the same Kyle Tucker we've seen from previous years, but he was averaging 3.7 fantasy points before he got injured, which is very, very good for fantasy. But now he's over here stuck with Brandon Nimmo, who is now day to day. He's also gotten hit with the injury bug, and he was averaging 2.6, which isn't too bad. But then Jeff McNeil, who's been on the struggle bus pretty much since the opening day of baseball, averaging just 1.6. So I don't blame Christian at all for trying to make trades happen in that outfield, but I do agree that he is asking for way too much, and he's been
Hey,
doing that with everybody in the league.
the problem with that outfield is he has
Yeah.
New York Mets out there. And I just want to point out, I think it's hilarious that the Mets are now 0-2 after that OMG concert they had after the game. I think serving the Mets right.
We also had Drunk
Don't diss on
Grimace.
my boy Jose Iglesias. I actually like that song.
Oh no, the song was about the song. The funniest thing was watching Pete Alonso try to fit into that crowd.
No, the funniest thing was the
Francisco
drunk.
Lindor was
Did y'all
vibing
see
so hard.
Dude, the whole stadium was there's even a drunk grimace that was in the crowd. It was a grimace that was downing shots of like beers like every 5 to 10 minutes, and he couldn't even stand up straight afterwards.
Hey,
It's like, I mean, I don't
I
know.
just
Grimace,
I want
Grimace
to
is getting a little over his head.
I want to point out a mistake I made earlier when I was talking about the standings. I kept saying I was 4 games behind Jason. I meant Brendan. I am far out of contention of catching up to Jason. Jason has our division pretty much in wraps unless Brendan's team goes crazy. But I meant I
No,
was 4 games behind Brendan, which Brendan did lose last week to
That
Andrew.
worked
Thank
out.
you.
That worked out perfect for me too because I dropped last week's matchup, so it was a good
Yeah.
time for both of us to lose a game.
I mean,
It worked out
The
perfect.
only way I can the only way I can catch up to you, Jason, is my team. I mean, my team's starting to get red hot. Finally starting to figure out an identity with pitching. I have a rotation that I think works with me right now, especially with Glasnow, Rodriguez, and I've recently picked up Cole Irvin, who had a good start for me last week. But hopefully, I can rely on them three to pick up my
So
rotation. My bats are staying healthy at the moment. You knock on wood, but they're staying healthy at the
so
moment.
as of
So.
right now, the only thing that I can do is enjoy my short-lived lead over Jason Barker as of right now. He has nobody
I
playing. It's 31-4 right now. Yippee! But it's only a Monday, and Jason still has the best pitching rotation in the league. I truly believe that. It's actually crazy. I mean, the fact that you have Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo, Chris
oh
Sale, Paul Skeens,
I
and
forgot about
Corbin Burns is
them
coming
too.
back off of the fraternity list.
See,
This is going to be
Yeah.
a tough matchup. I'm just
It's
I'm gonna hope to God that my team performs this week, and I'm gonna be able to match up with you. But this is gonna be a tough one.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
that's
before
crazy. When I
Jay,
was talking about my pitching lineup a minute ago, I forgot all about Garrett Cole and Corbin Burns. I mean Garrett Cole and Paul Skeens. I mentioned I did drop Strider, but I got Strider Jr. a little bit, and Paul Skeens, he's got the kind of same the mustache, the flamethrower type deal, and he's been doing great. It was funny. Picked him up like a week before he got called up. Brendan actually had him on his team because he's the only Pirates fan, to my knowledge, in
In
our group.
existence.
So he knew about him, but then everybody started hearing about this guy, and I was like, I don't know why he's not up yet. I mean, he sounds like he's going to be good. So,
And
you
his
know,
girlfriend's not bad either. I mean,
Andrew, of course. Hey, I want to point out.
but
Oh, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
no. But what I was going to say about mine and Steven's matchup is that he has like 31 points right now, and who's carrying that load is Hunter Brown. And if y'all remember, earlier in the season, Hunter Brown was on my team, and he dropped that negative 30 on me.
oh
yeah,
yeah.
I saw that too.
I was the one that took that negative 30 bomb. Funny enough, since we were talking about him, I was going against Christian that week, and I still beat him. So,
Hey.
Negative 30 does nothing against
listen.
Christian, dude. That is sad.
Speaking of negative points, I was talking about my rotation earlier, and I mentioned Cole Irvin had a good outing for me last week. That was not the case. I'm trying to remember the performances on top of my head. It was not Cole Irvin. Cole Irvin's been horrible. I'm probably dropping him tonight. Who I meant to point out was Christopher Sanchez. These are his last
oh
three
my
outings.
gosh.
35 points, 24 points, and 19. Last week is a performance I was trying to say where he had a 9-inning, 35-point performance, 9 strikeouts, a complete game shutout. He
Beautiful.
is who I'm relying on to carry this load that my pitching rotation has been slacking all season long.
Hold up. I actually want to say something about Christopher Sanchez. Guess who dropped him the day before he went off?
Probably you.
Oh my! No way! It's the guy that's talking. No way! It's Jackson. Is it you?
No, it's not. It's Christian.
Oh,
Was it
I told
Christian?
you wrong.
They pick him up, and he
I don't
did. I
know.
was like, oh, he's not doing well for me.
I don't know
And
who
then
dropped
drops
him.
him the next day,
And
and then
honestly-
drops like 24, 25 points.
I
Like,
just saw him on the waivers and my eyes lit up. I knew I had to grab him. And the day after I snatched him is when he had that complete game shutout against the Marlins. And he's been red hot the last 3 starts.
And he helped
there's
you clinch it
signs
against
of him
me?
slowing down.
you dropped 101 points on the last day. I was beating
Yeah.
you by 78. That's why I was
Was
so
it? Oh, it was a lot worse than I thought it was. Yeah, Jackson. Let that be a lesson to you: is you don't say a word to the matchups ever. I didn't say anything to you all week until the matchup was over.
What's crazy here is that Schrader, since we're going on topic a little bit, Schrader texted the group chat about how he's just going to take the bullet for everybody and do the punishment. Like, what's crazy about it is that all Jackson has to do is win 2 more games. And like, because Christian and him are pretty much neck and neck when it comes to this last place position and who has to do the punishment. Like,
I'm
he's
I'm
only
the
got one
third
more
worst
win than
team.
Jackson.
I'm only a game above Christian.
Why are you talking like that's a flex? Like, hey guys, I'm
It's
the
not.
third worst team.
It's not. It's not. I've been trying to make trades. Nobody's accepted my trades. Like,
Gavin
I
has
don't know if
to.
y'all
Gavin's
noticed,
been
but my
texting.
computer crashed whenever Jackson started talking about Julio Rodriguez. It couldn't handle trying to listen to him talk about another Julio Rodriguez trade for the 12th week in a row.
no, what's
I-
crazy
you know-
is I was about to give him Julio Rodriguez, and I would have gotten Jesus Luzardo, George Springer, and Chris Sale.
You know,
That's because Jason
I
Barker
wasn't
is
giving up
smart.
that much.
No, you were
Hey,
gonna give him Chris Sale. This was before Chris Sale went off.
Barker's
Jackson,
intelligent.
this like
He knew
earlier
Chris
the
Sale
day
was about
before.
to have a bounce back season.
Jackson, just look. This is his first appearance on Dinger Dudes, and his quality background and voice sounds so much better already. He's just ahead of the game. That's the difference maker right there. Jason is Jason, and Jackson is Jackson. You know.
I want to point this out real quick. You were talking about Schrader and how he only needs to win 2 more games to really be out of position. Because once you go ahead of Christian, I don't know if Christian's going to catch up to anybody. Christian, I'm sorry, but you look at Schrader's team, and it's very doable. He still has
Dude,
Bryce
literally.
Harper. He's on the IL, but Bryce Harper's going to return. He has Stanton, who's on the IL. He's going to return. He has Marcell Ozuna. He has Ahmed Rosario, who's been really heating up recently. He has Ladoris Guerrero Jr., who has given him 163 points this year, so he's had a pretty okay
We got
performance.
Screwball.
He does have scoopable, and he has Kevin Gossman, who just gave him a 13-point performance, so he's been mediocre. But he's in position that if he, I don't know what the rest of the schedule looks like, but if he can go up against somebody like Christian or like Jackson Volt, or then he has a chance to get those 2 games that he needs, and all of a sudden he's not taking the bullet because he's not doing the punishment. So Schrader, if you're listening, this is my message to you: don't give up, man. You're really
Don't
not.
put me in the same league as Schrader and Christian.
Jackson,
You just
My
said it
team is
yourself.
not that bad.
You put yourself in that. You put
You
yourself
just,
in
you just
that,
said
in
yourself,
that
oh,
category.
I'm the
Hold on,
third worst.
Since
Hey,
we're turning this
it's
into a
actually
Christian's Team
funny.
hate show,
Next week,
you want to know what's crazy?
What's
Schrader
crazy?
is 2-12. Schrader is 2-12. Christian's been trying in the fantasy league.
Hey,
He's
Jackson,
3-11. He's 3-11. He's
Hey,
only a
what's
game up
funny
on Schrader.
and this
is
ain't the
that
Christian
they
hate show,
actually they
man.
go against each other next week. Schrader and Christian go against each other next week. So
Oh, the
we will
crap
see.
bowl.
That will be a
The
pivotal,
survival of the
that'll be a
mittest.
pivotal matchup right there.
Hey,
It's funny. The week after that, he goes against Jackson Bowles. So
Another
that
win-off.
That's a
wouldn't
two-game
talk
win
too
streak.
much right now.
I am
That's a
begging.
two-game win streak right
If
there.
anything alive, if Christian can beat Jackson, oh my God,
Who do you
that would
think
be
you are?
euphoria.
Look
We are
at
clipping
Jackson's
this.
setup right now.
I'm clipping this part of the show right here. So when Christian beats Jackson the upcoming weeks, we are
Jackson
playing this
who?
clip over and over and
Schrader
over
You
or
know
again
which
me?
on
Jackson we're
Instagram.
talking about. You know.
You, bud. You, bud.
Not
Hold
with
on.
team. I'm about to change my name again. Honestly, I dropped like one of the highest scores when I had my team's name as Steven's dad. So I might go back to Steven's dad.
You're talking to Steven's dad right here. But listen, I gotta. We only have about like 4
Buddy,
minutes.
hold up. Whoa.
We only
The
have-
disrespect is crazy. You realize that this division that you're in, you think you have it wrapped up. You
I
want to
don't.
check the standings
I
again?
don't.
Hey,
I'm
I'm
in the
talking to
same
Andrew.
division as
I'm talking to
Jason
Andrew.
and
let's have
Brendan.
a
How
father-son
is that
conversation.
fair?
I like this. Let's have a father-son conversation. Father's Day was a few weeks ago, but let's talk about this. This is why I love my chances in this league, because if you take a look at not
Wyatt's
last
coming
week,
on your tail, big dog. That's all I got to
listen,
say.
and I'm glad you brought Wyatt up, because not 2 weeks ago, me and Wyatt had a showdown in which he proceeded to beat me 320 to 221, and that's including a 37-point performance from Pablo Lopez that week. But do you know what really screwed me that week? Let's revisit this guy I was just talking about. Let's revisit Imanaga, because earlier that week, he was going up against the New York Mets. And I'm talking about, this was post-Grimace. So this was a different New York Mets team that we've never seen before.
Stay tuned for a reel on the Instagram about that, by the
Do
way.
you know what Imanaga did in that game against New York? He only pitched 3 innings. Do you want to know why he only pitched 3 innings? Because he gave up 11 hits and 10 earned runs. Where does that come from? That acquired me negative 22 points. When
That's
has
Hunter
he
Brown
ever?
level.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, when has he ever just thrown
Man.
little T-balls up on the mound when he's pitching against the Mets? Like that. After I saw that performance, I knew it was over with. But then guess what? I had a little bounce back. This previous week, I took down Brendan Willoughby Ray, 328 to 279. So I'm back on my feet. I'm back on my feet. I got Christian this week. I got McLovin next week. You know that's an easy dub. And then I got the infamous Jason Barker. I cannot wait for the end of July, because that's gonna be cinema right there.
So wait, we've gone against each other a couple times so far, haven't we?
Yeah,
I-
you beat
I
me
think-
by 27 points the last time you played.
Yeah. So I will give credit where credit is due, because I'm all about that. This is our Wolf Sports Network fan group that we're talking about, but there is another group that me and Andrew are a part of, and we went against each other last week, and he beat me by over 100 points. So I'll give props to him there. That was impressive. Also, Andrew was the only one to score over 300 points last week. So there you go as well.
I
Andrew is on
appreciate you,
fire.
Jason.
I'm nervous about our matchup.
Dude, don't listen. It's gonna be possibly the matchup of the year, Jason. I cannot wait for it. It's gonna be prime time fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
And you know what, Jason? If you win, I would take you out to dinner, and dinner will be on me. Okay, Jason.
Again? That's too kind.
Again,
Those are like my favorite times right there. I got to get back up to Carrollton. I'm
dude, you
repping.
got.
By the way, I'm repping the UWG shirt right here.
D1,
D1
baby.
Hey,
today. D1 official.
I love
Uh,
it. I love it. Go West, go Wolves.
Go West, go Wolves.
Man, Jason, you know what your team is right now in fantasy?
12-2. Better
Your
than
team,
yours? What?
your fantasy team is on a hot streak right now. Do you want to know what else is hot? These MLB takes going into this next segment. Welcome to a brand new segment. I like to call it "We've Got Mail." We're still working on this. Is the first time doing this segment, and we're still working on the shout out to Blues Clues. We're still
We
working on
just
the
got a
name.
letter. We just
We
got
just
a
got a
letter.
letter.
We just
We
got
just
a
got a
letter. I
letter.
wonder who
Guess
it's
who it's from.
That was fire. That was fire.
So, for the first
Beautiful
hot take
cinema.
that we received from Instagram, by the way, if y'all haven't followed the Instagram and subscribed to the YouTube, please do that. We're 7 subscribers away from 100, and we're like 30 followers away from Instagram. Thank y'all so much for the love and support. But
Well,
for the
30
very
followers
first
away
hot
from
take we
Instagram.
got was from the Rob Brown Show. If Luis Robert or Randy Arozarena aren't sent to the Braves by the end of a trade deadline, it's a failure.
I would say that's an extremely hot take.
Yeah.
And
We're talking
I wanna know
burning
that.
here, brother. We're talking third-degree burns.
I want to know, what that's lukewarm at best. Because what confuses me about that take is why is it considered a failure? Like, don't get me wrong, ship him to the Braves. If it happens, it happens, and I'm gonna be excited
I'm
about it.
assuming he's talking about how Acuna and Harris are injured.
Well,
Well,
that's the thing. Like,
you see what
thing is-
Alex Anthopoulos already has set up with like Forrest Wall has been doing. He's been doing so, and apparently what's kind of confusing to me right now is that Alex Anthopoulos has been teasing something to happen for the last few weeks, but we've seen no movement, and that's what's going to make me feel comfortable. Once I see AA do something that he's confident in, then all Braves country is going to be confident in because we know what was the result the last time that happened. So
Not only is it like my whole thing is the reason that it makes it like so hot or like as a hot take is because you're saying it's a failure. My whole thing is like if we get a Luis Robert or something like that, that's great because in my opinion that takes away Adam Duvall from being a starter every day, which in my opinion, I mean Duvall's been kind of one of the biggest disappointments for the team this year.
he's not the same Duvall we had in 21.
It's one of those things because like what happens when Michael Harris does come back? You're going to have Michael Harris and Kalenic in that outfield. You're just going to miss that one spot that you need in the outfield to complete the outfield that you need. It's one of those things to where we don't know, but in my opinion, the two biggest needs that this team really needs right now is a fifth spot. We need a fifth starter desperately. We need a fifth starter.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then
you're right,
getting
Steven,
that outfield spot.
Yeah, and you're right. And I think our focus needs to be on establishing that fifth spot, especially for when the postseason rolls around. Because I saw something today that the Braves have the most starters with an ERA under 300 than any other team in the MLB. And that comes from the 4 rotators that we have already. So if you get a guy to fill in the hole that Strider left, and they stay consistent, including through October, that is what wins you World Series. Because anybody will tell you, pitching will win you World Series. So please make something like that happen.
Yeah,
Well,
you definitely need good starters in the playoffs.
And you're definitely right, Andrew. Our starters have been phenomenal, but I think the stat you saw was not starters; it was bullpen. We have 5 pitchers in the bullpen with sub 300 ERAs.
Okay.
Of course, Chavez, Bill Lee, Iglesias, Joe Jimenez, and AJ Minter, who just came back today. But the thing about the take that, or why I think it's a hot take, like Steven said, if we get Randy Arozarena, if we get Luis Robert, it's nice because we definitely do needs that somebody else at the outfield to have a completed outfield. But it's just that I don't think those are the best options out there. Because if you ask me, a name that's been really circling rumors recently is Lane Thomas of the Washington Nationals, who I
Yes.
would much rather have than a Rosarena or
10
Luis
times
Robert.
out of 10.
And I even like the idea that
In
was
the
rumored around earlier was Kyle Tucker. The only problem is at the time of the rumors, the Astros were crapping the bed. Now they're getting a lot better. The only problem is Kyle Tucker still cannot stand this new manager. So maybe that's still a possibility. But you got a Rosarena. He does have power and lots of speed, but he's
And
a
we've seen what
strikeout.
he's done in the past, dude.
But he's
This
a
is just
strikeout machine.
he's
this
in the
year.
same boat as Julio Rodriguez. This is just
You're
a
right.
down season so
You're
far.
right, because he's also batting a 197. But then you look at Luis Robert, who has so much power, and I think maybe the only problem he has is he needs to change the scenery. So that would be the better option for me. But apparently, it's more likely that he goes to the Phillies based on what I've heard. But yeah, that's why I think it's hot take. I don't think those are the best options
All right.
out there.
Shout out to the Rob Brown show for sending that in. You said Lane Thomas, correct?
Yes.
This hot take was sent in by our buddy Daniel Karp, who was on last episode. The Nationals finished second in the National League East.
and whoa.
Over the Phillies?
How?
Is he predicting a massive downfall from the
There's
Phillies?
No
No,
way.
front of the
You think
Braves.
that? Well,
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
that he thinks that they're going to jump us. That the Braves
Yeah, I
are
know.
going to
I
finish
was
third in
saying
the
that
NL East.
sarcastically.
Braves are not jumping the Phillies. Don't give me that, bro.
It was
Well,
a sarcastic
here's the
comment,
thing.
Jackson. Calm down.
Hey,
Because
y'all
the
can
Phillies, they
get hey, y'all
always
can
end
get
up
Eddie
with
Rosario at
injuries. They
Eddie
heard
Rosario
that
just got DFA'd.
Yep, he did.
And
Hey,
let me
if the Braves got Eddie Rosario and he has a magical run, I mean, he's
Hey,
our
it happened
dude.
I mean
before.
here and
He's our
let me
dude.
try to defend Daniel Carp's hot take, and not that I agree with it by any means, because
He's
listen,
talking
I
about
love
like
what
the
the
rising young stars and James Wood, Kay Cavalli.
And we just saw James Wood, the third overall prospect in Major League
Maybe in
Baseball,
6
just
years.
get his first hit for the Nationals. And we all know the amazing rotation that they have building with so many young pitchers, so many young arms from their farm system. And then, of course, you got all their other prospects like Lane Adams, though he might get traded. You know, we don't know what his future looks like. And you got CJ Abrams, who's showing more and more promise each and every week. So I understand where he's coming from. Like Jason said, 6 years down the road, I could easily see the Nationals sitting first or second in the NL East. But this year, and I love the hot take because, I mean, it brings some excitement. We've seen what the Nationals have done in 2019. They kind of had a worst to first kind of situation. They, obviously didn't finish first in the division, but they finished first in the MLB with that World Series. But it's just not going to happen this year, even with the Braves' lackluster offense. The Braves are going to get it figured out. This is some of the best pitching I've seen in Atlanta in a very long time.
Yeah.
Talking both starters and bullpen, and that's going to make the difference because that's where the Braves are going to stay on top of the Nationals right there.
So that's the whole thing about it, is the fact that if that happens, then if the Braves do finish third in the NL East, then the Braves probably aren't going to be making the playoffs at that point, and they're not going to be seeing October. And that's just not going to happen. I'm sorry.
And that
This
is
Braves
that's even
team
Him. Just to
will
let
make
you know,
October.
Jason.
you reword that. What?
Just to let you know, Jason. Daniel Karp. I don't know if you saw last episode, but he's a Yankees fan. So this was a completely unbiased take.
For sure,
Just
sure. Dude, I just looked, and the Nationals are 3-7 in their last 10. They did just call up that outfielder, and like there's always hype when you call up those outfielders. But we've seen and like players like that. But we've seen like what last year's biggest example was it O'Neal Cruz that got called up late last year?
No,
Was that
for the Nationals
No, for the
or
Pirates.
just in general.
Just in general.
It had to be Elio Cruz, right?
O'Neal Cruz did get called up last year, but I'm just
Right.
Ellie
Right,
De La
we
Cruz,
see-
wasn't
like,
that
we
also
see-
last year where he got called up
Yeah,
pretty
last year,
late
yeah.
into the season?
Right, but we see these players get called up for these teams, and there's hype, and like, what's going to happen, and that's not going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen. It's for sure not.
Not
The
this
better
year.
take
I
would
think
be
the Nationals.
better take
Yeah.
would be
The Nationals have a
Mets,
bright future.
and that's not
Yeah.
going to happen either. So
I like
that's
what you
not
said,
gonna-
Jason. Because I personally think that, in my personal opinion, I don't know if this is kind of a warm take. It's not a hot take. It might be a warm take. I think the Mets finished third in the division. I think the Mets are going to end up sitting in that third hole.
Well,
And
The Mets have been doing really solid.
The Mets are a thing
Exactly.
right now. And here's the thing, like y'all been talking about, the Nationals have a bright future. They have a young team, and that is exactly why this take is hot. Because if it gets later in the season, end of August, early September, and it's a close finish for the NL East, the Braves has what it takes. They've been put under pressure before. Everyone on this team, they have playoff experience. Except Kelenic, but they've been under pressure before. No, Kelenic does have playoff experience, so scratch that.
Yeah.
Everybody has playoff experiences. So they know what to do under pressure. They know what needs to get done. They can face adversity, and they can get they can do what it takes to get over the hump. The Nationals cannot. Hardly, I don't know how many players on the Nationals really have playoff experience except Eddie Rosario, who just got DFA.
And Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, Patrick Corbin, but they have a young team that hasn't had this type of adversity. They haven't been put under this amount of pressure, and I don't know. They might be too young to get it done when the time comes, but later down the road, when they get more experience, they're going to be deadly. They're going to be dangerous. Just right now, they don't have what it takes to get over that hump and maybe sneak into a playoff spot like the roster the Braves have.
Right. Yeah.
This is
Nobody's
like-
competing with the Braves and the Phillies in the NL East. I mean,
Right.
and y'all say like call me a biased Braves fan or whatever you want, but I mean I don't think the season's over. I'm not writing off the Braves losing their NL East streak.
No.
I'm not either.
But I went on record, I think, sometime last year, and I said, you know what? I care less about the streak and more about a World Series.
Of course.
Like I would love to see us do the reversal of what the Phillies did to us last year. I mean, we took the NL East, and they put a sour taste in our mouth, and I would love to get their hopes up. Let them win that. Let them break that streak. Let them feel all good. Let Bryce Harper be that villain. That
Let
bad
them
guy
have
that
home field
y'all
advantage.
love.
We'll start off playing game one in Red October if we need to. We've seen it at the beginning of this year. We can play in Philadelphia. It's just a matter of our offense, getting everything together.
Yeah, and in a wild card, we can match up for one game against anybody, obviously. So, I mean, and who would be our game one starter? I mean, right now, would it be Chris Sale? I mean, who would we? Max
Or
Fried?
Max Fried. Or Renato Lopez,
mean-
even.
Likely Max Fried, but I mean,
Max
you have
Fried or-
options.
It would probably either Max Fried or Chris Sale, just because of the lack of starting experience in the playoffs when it comes to Lopez. But
Chris
Lopez
Sale
definitely.
has far and away experience in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Braves throw in Chris Sale because of his experience.
Sure.
With the Red Sox.
And he has a World
But-
Series under his belt.
All righty, what's this third one?
Well, for the third one, thank you, Daniel Carp, for sending that one in. The third one, this is more of a unserious hot take, but our friends over at MLB Hall of Good podcast, shout out to them. Go follow them if you haven't on Instagram already. They do
Very unique
stuff-
contact.
Yeah, they do stuff like do random videos and random episodes on random MLB players that you would find in reference pages like what's the name? Ty Tice. Remember the discussion we were having at the Chick-fil-A? Like Ty Tice. They do stuff like that. So this hot take, I don't know if y'all know who Rob Refsnyder is.
Yep.
I do.
But Rob Refsnyder is a top 5 Red Sox player of all time. What's
No.
your genuine thoughts
No.
on that?
Wait,
Think about the history. I mean, look, that is boiling level hot
It's
take. So I appreciate
unserious.
that.
It's so crazy that it's not even to the point of like taking it seriously.
Yeah,
like-
you're right.
No, David Ortiz, Pedro Martinez, Manley,
Ted Williams.
Ted, like all of these, think about the history of the Boston Red Sox. Justin Pedroia ranks higher than
No.
Rob Refsnyder.
No,
Now, here's the
yeah.
thing. If you want to make this a little more serious and say he's a top 5 player on the Red Sox right now, I think you have an argument because he's
Sure.
batting like a 322 right now. But all time, that's just the.
Wait, hold
I
on.
love it.
Hold on, I wanna
Honestly,
make sure I
I
said
love it.
that right.
You know what? Honestly, just because I wanted to jump in and add to the joke, I'll just I want to sit there and argue for it, being like, yeah,
Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
my bad. My bad. I did that wrong. Rob Refsnyder is a top 5 Red Sox player right now.
Oh, that's totally different. That
I
is
read that
completely
wrong.
different.
My bad. My
hey,
bad.
No way.
Did
So
you
it's like what I said. It's like what I said. If you want to say he's a top 5 Red Sox player right now,
Yeah,
I think you have an
sure.
argument. I think he
Sure.
has the highest. I think he has the highest batting average on the Red Sox right now. If I'm not wrong, at 322.
I mean, well, you got Rafael Devers.
What's
He's, of
Duran?
course, pulling up,
Tyler
Duran is up
O'Neill,
there.
Tyler O'Neill, Duran for sure. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure. You know what? I put him in the top three if you want to. I could care less. But yeah, that's completely different from what you said the first time. So, I mean, look,
Yeah,
Hey, I think about
drastic.
what's his face? What's his name? Rob, how you pronounce his name?
Who
Rob
you talking about?
Snyder.
Yeah,
Oh.
Russian. I didn't want to butcher your last name, but he did. He every home run that he has hit this year has been on the road. So he is a different beast on the road. If you want to throw down to the argument as well,
I mean, sure, if the Red Sox somehow tend to get hot here in July and rolls out
which
to
you have.
August, and
Red Sox
maybe
found
sneak,
themselves above 500.
I know maybe if they sneak into the playoffs and maybe his power numbers on the road will come into a more advantage for the Red Sox. So you never know. With the Red Sox are kind of in one of those like dystopian future kind of things. Like you don't know what it looks like. That's why I was getting at with dystopian. You don't know what it looks like. It's a lot of uncertainty there, but it's a historical franchise nonetheless. A lot of good prospects in their farm system because a lot of people like the history there. And I think they're just trying to recover from losing a guy like Mookie Betts and trying to find a replacement for him because they've got the home run hitter in Rafael Devers. They just need more depth, especially in the outfield.
And they also,
Right,
as
yeah,
we
because
were talking about Jaron Duran.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then Trevor Story that got that season-ending injury earlier. They've been trying to find that new replacement in the infield. So I mean, yeah, the
and
Red
right now
Sox are.
they have Tristan Casas who's hurt right now, and he was
Yeah.
on fire for the
Yeah.
Red Sox at the beginning of the season. So their infield has been great. I think that the Red Sox pitching has been. I mean, Kenley Jansen
Tanner
is Kenley
Hoek.
Jansen still over there?
Cutter Crawford.
Tanner
Cutter
Tanner
Hoek.
Hoek
Crawford.
has been
Cutter
incredible this year.
Crawford's been
Tanner
good.
Hoek.
You're right. Yeah, Cutter Crawford's been really good. I mean, maybe I'm incorrect, but yeah.
I mean,
But
Cutter
hey,
Crawford did really good when he played against the Braves down
And Tanner
actually from
Hoek,
Boston.
who's a
For
top 5 AL Cy Young candidate right now.
for the Braves fans, I just thought of a crazy hot take, and it just kind of came to my mind. When Acuna
Okay.
comes back next year, Kalenic's probably still going to be a part of this team. Do you think that Kalenic should still remain in that leadoff spot when Acuna comes back?
Steven, here's the
absolutely
thing.
not.
Steven,
Nope.
it's funny you said that because Wyatt sent me multiple hot takes, and one of his hot takes was Kelenic is a better leadoff man than Acuna. Now,
He's
here's the
not.
thing.
Better?
Here's the thing. Yeah,
What?
here's the thing. Kelenic, when he was pulling this leadoff spot, which back when he's on Seattle, he only had 20 or 22 appearances in the leadoff spot, and he did okay. But he has been on fire. He has 5 home runs so far at the leadoff spot. So don't get me wrong. Kelenic has played his best this year when he was in the leadoff spot. But to say that he's a better leadoff man or that he could potentially still be the leadoff man when Acuna gets back, it's flat out disrespectful.
No.
Acuna at the leadoff spot had a season, an MVP season that we might not see for a long, long time, and he did that at the leadoff spot. I don't care that he was struggling this year. I don't care that he didn't hit a home run in Truist Park this year. When Acuna returns, he is still the same Acuna with the same upside, and to take him away from that Acuna spot or from the leadoff spot would be one of the most disrespectful things the Braves could ever do. So no,
Yep.
that is a disgusting.
I
thing
actually
to say,
do want to talk
I'm
about
sorry,
that.
that's a disgusting thing to say.
I actually do want to talk about that. As a non-Braves fan, Jared Kelenic was an amazing pickup for y'all this offseason. I've been saying that.
I
Jared
know.
Kelenic,
I have to tell y'all, I was on the horse with y'all up there saying that Kellenic was going to be great, All of
He-
y'all, I think, told me that I was stupid and that he was
I
going to
didn't.
suck. I know specifically one of the wits that we had, Aiden Abbey, if he watches this, I
He
hope
does. He follows us.
I have text message threads where I was on the hype train and he's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, believe, there's that picture of him holding the Believe poster in Seattle. And I believed, and he has done great. Now, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jackson, but I think it's a completely different argument. I've heard the argument is is um is Ronald Acuna made for the leadoff spot, and maybe he wouldn't traditionally be a leadoff spot, but the fact of the matter is that's where he's comfortable. That's where he likes to be. And if you have an MVP player who likes to be in a spot, you put him there. And
Yep.
he's got the speed to steal bases. I don't know. Now, part of this argument will be maybe he's going to be trying to steal less bases. His speed's going
He
to be less.
will.
a factor, and you want your leadoff hitter to have more speed. But I
You
think
want him to
that
stay healthy.
right. But I think that
Could
I
factor in the
mean,
argument.
right. I mean, that could factor into the argument, but I think that definitely not. We're putting that dude where he wants to be, and he's gonna stay there. The next question is, are we gonna extend the dude whenever his contract comes up? That's what I'm more worried about.
I mean, here's the question about like Acuna and his future with the Braves, and it all and like going back to the debate real quick. I can see Brian Snicker maybe dropping Acuna slightly in the batting order once the season starts and it's still fresh, just so he can get his bat warm. Because I can't remember who said it, Jason or Jackson, but keeping Acuna healthy is by far the
Me.
most important thing next year. And we all know the leadoff hitter tends to get the most at bats and the most production in the game of baseball. But once Acuna gets warmed up, he's most definitely going back to the leadoff hitter. I would put Acuna as a leadoff hitter on all 30 MLB teams, including the Dodgers, because that's where Acuna thrives and that's where Acuna is the most productive. Will he be a little less,
He's going to be
aggressive
less
on the
productive.
bases?
He's going to be less productive.
Not less productive, but less aggressive on the bases. And he
Right.
needs to be, because after battling those two horrific injuries, it wears on a guy. But we don't need Acuna stealing 70+ stolen bases like he
No,
did it last
we
year.
don't.
It's a good
Yeah.
bonus, but we don't need it. But now that Kelnick is finding his rhythm in the leadoff spot and getting more comfortable at the plate with the Braves, we can move him to wherever we want in the order. And I truly believe we're going to get that same high efficiency from Kelnick, because he's got his game, he's got his confidence. And that was the whole point of putting him in the leadoff spot, because it was kind of a gray area when Michael Harris went down. So we were like, sure, throw in Kelnick. He's got great speed. We see him hustle in the outfield, and he's found his game. He's found his rhythm now. And that was the most important thing of putting Kelnick there, and we succeeded in that area. So, but no, Acuna needs to have that leadoff spot for sure.
Chase, I was going to say, what was the next hot take? But
Well,
what were you
I
saying?
can tell you. Well, that's quickly. I was just gonna throw in. I said it was it's not okay. When you want to question, will Acuna still be in leadoff spot? You have points of reason. Like you want that leadoff man to be aggressive on the base, in the leadoff spot, which Acuna might not be. But to say, like Wyatt said, that Kelnick is a better leadoff man than Acuna. Here's the thing, Jason. You said it perfectly. Acuna is made for the leadoff spot. That's where he's most comfortable. Kelnick is a type of player that you can move around anywhere. Like when he's on the Mariners, he played games up and down the order all season long, his time in Seattle, and that's honestly what he's done in Atlanta, spending time in the bottom of the order, middle of the order. Now he's having experience in the leadoff spot. Yes, he's looked at best at the leadoff spot, but he's flexible. We can put him anywhere up and down the rotation.
Yep.
Right. For
Okay,
sure.
so
Okay.
I can. Andrew, actually, before I do Wyatt's, Andrew, read off Jake's hot take.
Yeah, so shout out to Chase and I's older brother, Jake Jefferson. He's been a baseball fanatic all his life. He even played the game of baseball. And he sent me a hot take before we jumped into this segment that made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. And it kind of threw shade at my 2010s decade all-time draft, because I drafted this man as my pitcher. He claims that Clayton Kershaw absolutely will not be in the Hall of Fame. And he put absolutely in all caps. Okay, I asked him for his defense statement. Let me see if he texts me back. Okay, so let me just read off his reasoning as to why Kershaw will absolutely not be in the Hall of Fame. He says, I think his postseason performance will overshadow his regular season performance. And
Andy said about the Hall of Fame. We got to focus on the man's career.
This is awesome what he said. The extra inning base
I have a bone to
runners.
pick with your brother.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that other part later. But yeah, so y'all guys just kind of talk amongst yourselves, and I'm going to sit back and watch because I'm disgusted. Clayton Kershaw, he's first ballot. No
He's
question
first
about
ballot.
that.
Guaranteed. What was the defense again with the playoffs?
He's trying to say that Clayton Kershaw's postseason performance will overshadow what he did in the regular season, because he did have those weird stretches from time to time where he wasn't in his best form or whatever, and he did have the injuries. But you gotta look at prime Clayton Kershaw. You take the prime Clayton Kershaw and how he was in the early 2000s decade. That enough will get you a first ballot Hall of Fame proposal. And
Jake, I love it, man. I know everybody's saying here.
2011 National League Cy Young, 2013 National League Cy Young, 2014 National League Cy Young. You're telling me after those 3 years of him being those award winners that he's not a Hall of Fame contender? I
No,
understand the playoff argument about he's not the. In fact, he's one of the most disappointing playoff performers in MLB history.
of course.
I get that argument, but when we're talking about the MLB Hall of Fame, are we just going to judge guys based on what they did in October?
Well,
If that's the case, then Chipper
flip this.
Jones.
Yeah,
Flip
true.
this
Very true.
argument. Think about a player who shined in the postseason but wasn't really great in the regular season. And I think y'all did it on one of those underrated players. But David Freese, he's not going to get in the Hall of
look,
Fame
Eddie Rosario's
because
first
of
ballot
his
tomorrow.
exactly. Randy Arozarena. Randy Arozarena would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So you just got to look at that from the opposite end, and that just sounds ridiculous.
Hold
That
up.
just
I would
sounds
actually
ridiculous.
like to bring something to attention. I'm looking at playoff statistics, right? He's talking about how like the playoff overshines, blah blah blah, right?
Yes.
If that's his case, Tom Glavine wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. I'm looking
True.
at it right now. His playoff
Yep.
statistics, 14-16 with a 3.80 ERA. What is he chatting about?
No, you're absolutely right.
Well,
Hey.
listen, Tom
Tom
Glavine
Glavine,
did have a great Game 6 performance and
Glavine
got us a
should-
World Series in
He
1995.
Clayton
So
Kershaw
we'll
is the
talk
Hall of
about
Fame.
Tom Glavine's October performance, but also at the same time,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, Clayton Kershaw did have a pretty good October. Well, it was up and downs, but in the 2020 season, he had a good performance in the World Series. I mean, it's not
Yes.
like all of his October performances have been bad. He's had some good performances here and there, but I mean, obviously, you're talking about in 2019 to where he blew it against the Nationals, and in 2018 against the Red Sox. All these different scenarios go into your head about just like,
2016
wow,
with the Cubs.
overrated,
Yeah.
like this and that. But you got to give the man his flowers. The man is one of the best pitchers to ever
Right.
put on a Dodgers uniform. You got to
He's
give the
one
man
of,
his
in my
credit. You
opinion,
gotta
he's
give
one of
the
the
man a
best
Hall of
pitchers to
Fame.
ever step foot on a mound.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's the best pitcher in the 2010s.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
why
know
I
where
picked
he
him.
ranks all time
That's why I
strikeout
picked
wise,
him.
but he,
I don't know about all time, but I'm looking at his 2023 season. He was what, 35 years old? Look at these stats in his last season. At 35 years old, 13-5 record with a 2.46 ERA and 137 strikeouts. Now, that's not a lot of strikeouts, but it's the fact that he went 13-5 with a 2.46 ERA.
At 35 years old.
Calling him overrated?
That's not even prime Kershaw numbers,
It's
but
not
there are
even
stars.
prime.
21st all time, 21st all time strikeout total. This man, you got to give the man his credit. You really do. And to be fair, guess what? He's only trailing Greinke by like 30 strikeouts. So I think he's going to end up passing that
And
by the
there's
end of the
been-
And is
season.
Greinke
There's been
pitching?
points in
Is
his
he done?
career where he hasn't even been
Greinke
fully
retired?
healthy to
Greinke's
pitch.
not retired yet.
No.
Yeah, he's still pitching. He's still pitching.
No, he's a free agent right now.
Look, so here's the thing.
That's another Hall of Famer right there, and Zach Greinke.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
The
Justin
only reason-
Verlander, first ballot Hall of Famer.
The
But
only-
to continue to prove the point, just because I think it's fun, and crossing sports here, Nick Foles would be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the NFL. So
I love it.
Look,
I love it,
listen,
Jay.
Hey, I think he should be, man.
Jorge
Listen.
Soler, baby. Jorge
Oh.
Soler.
John
Look,
Peterson,
yes.
Jock Pearls, baby, Jocktober.
Yes,
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
yes, it's obvious that Clayton Kershaw should be in the Hall of Fame. The only reason I find this argument intriguing is everybody loves to make fun of how horrible he was in the postseason, especially Giants fans or every Dodger hater out there. But listen, Jake,
What's your? We're running out of time, so what's y'all's last hot take?
okay, so the last hot take comes from the Catfish Cowboy himself, Sir Wyatt Lee. I asked him, hey man, we need some hot takes for Dinger Dudes. You got some? He claims, now we sent two. I'm going to choose the one that I think is the most intriguing. He claims the Dodgers will not win a World Series with the current team they have.
Okay.
love that
my
take.
hot take, if we were going to ask me my personal hot takes, my hot take was going to be the Dodgers will not win a World Series in the next 5 years.
So pretty much, yeah, with
Now,
the current team they have.
so yeah, so that'll be the current team. I buy it
I
because
don't.
because Clayton Kershaw is getting older. Freddie Freeman is gonna he has to at some point like die down. I don't think that the I don't think that the Dodgers are gonna be able to win the World Series this year. I think the
Nope.
Orioles have I think they can make it potentially to the World Series, but I think that the Orioles could beat them. I mean, hey, the Braves don't have Acuna, so I'm not
My
writing us out
yeah,
either.
yeah.
Um, but no, I don't think they're going to win it this year, and I think that they're going to continue to have injuries. We see Betts has injuries. Yamamoto, he's had injuries, and I mean, they've spent a lot of money. They have
You
spent
know,
a
yeah,
lot of money. I
my
might,
yeah.
again, you might call me a biased Braves fan, but like, I see
You for,
it being very possible that it
My
doesn't happen.
argument remains the same when it comes to these playoffs. It's not about who has the best lineup. It's not about who has the
Exactly.
best team. It's not about who's spending the most money. It's about who's hot at the right time. Whoever's going to have the best team, whoever has the hottest streak going into October, they're going to carry that momentum. We've seen it with the Phillies twice in two
And we
postseasons.
saw it with the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks last year.
I mean, right. Yeah.
It's
We
all
saw,
about who's the best team at the right time. It's not about who has the best lineup or the most money.
right. And
That's
like,
what's
if you,
going to
if you
make the
want to,
difference
yeah,
in
if
the
you want to
playoffs.
use
the
money,
Nationals
look at the
won the World
Mets. The
Series.
Mets found out that you can't just throw out money to a whole bunch of people and win a
Oh,
World
they
Series.
found out the hard way. The hard way. But and
So,
Jason, you made
I
a
want
great
to.
point
Can
earlier.
I put my take on this?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna go. You said that the Dodgers wouldn't win in the next
What?
what?
No,
5 years.
5
ever.
years.
With the current team they have.
Well, Jason, the current team they have, Jason
I
says
changed
5
it to
years.
5 years. I changed it to 5 years.
5 years? I say they do. The only reason I think they do is because I'm looking at it. Yes, Clayton Kershaw is not the best playoff performer, but you know who is? And there's like three of their top pitchers that are on the IL that haven't even played this season right now. Clayton Kershaw isn't a top pitcher, but he's still a really solid pitcher heading into the late stretches of the regular season. Tony Gonsolin has been amazing for the Dodgers in the playoffs. Emmett Sheehan, he started off really well this season, then gets injured. They still have Dustin May. Mookie Betts has been really solid in the postseason. Yes, he's injured right now, blah blah blah. But when he comes back, he was playing like an NL MVP candidate up there
And don't
with.
forget
And
about
don't even mention. I don't even want to. I need to mention Shohei Ohtani coming to LA this year, and he's playing like the top NL MVP candidate.
That's
He's
the
the
one
NL
thing that I am
MVP
excited
top
about in
performer right now
October is I
besides
actually
Bryce
do
Harper.
get to see Shohei Ohtani play
Shohei
in
Ohtani.
October.
Yeah.
It's still sad. Yeah.
But hold on, before
injuries.
But and
Max
remember,
Muncy, that's
Shohei Ohtani is coming back to pitch next season too.
Hey, don't forget about Max Muncy that's been sitting on the IL all season. That's waiting to come back. I think his timetable was late July, early August.
So here's
Who?
the thing, y'all all
Muncy.
saying like stating the obvious right now because it's a hot take for a reason. The Dodgers have one of the best up and down rosters in Major League
Yeah.
Baseball, so it's not far fetched to say that they are going to win a World Series in the next 5 years because they're expected to win multiple World Series in the next 5 years.
Right.
But I will say, Jason, you brought up a good point. In defense that they will not win a World Series in the next 5 years, they're in a battle with a much more veteranized offense when you've got teams like the Orioles who've got young,
Yeah.
producing offenses that are only going to get more and more dangerous that they're going to have to compete with. And I think if they were to not win a World Series in the next 5 years, it's going to be because teams like the Orioles, getting in the way in the AL, because I think we're going to see Baltimore in the playoffs for the next 5 years consistently as one of the top seeds. And then, of course, you got the
Why are you saying
Yankees.
AL? Why are you saying AL?
I'm sorry.
AL.
I mean,
Well, yeah, I was saying
the World
Orioles are
Series
the
is a
AL.
good
Oh, the
That's what
World
I'm saying.
Series. Oh, when you said the
Yeah.
playoffs, I was confused.
yeah,
I
don't
meant the
think.
World Series.
Yeah, this argument is not like if they're going to make it to the World Series. I think they will. I think they will make it to the World Series at least once, probably twice in the next
Sure.
5 years. But I don't think they'll win it. And like teams like the Yankees, if they can hold on to like a group that they have now and get some better pitching, the Yankees might try to do something again at some point. But
You got to
and
even look at.
Hey, can I say a quick hot take before we
Hang on. Let me finish this out. let me finish my final point. So you also got to look at their division because other the Dodgers kind of stay alone right now. The Diamondbacks are proving that they were just a one-hit wonder last year. You got the Giants, who's kind of sneaking a little bit, but they're not showing anything too impressive. The Rockies are a joke. So you mean it's like other than in that division, the Dodgers kind of staying alone, which might kind of make them seem like a regular season giant like the Toronto Raptors were. But come postseason, are they going to have what it takes? Will Ohtani be able to handle his first time in the postseason? Those are questions that are yet to be answered and won't be answered till October. All right,
All right,
Jason, what are you saying?
Jason. What's his hot take?
I wanted to talk about. Hold on. Oh, this one was sent very, very quick. It's like a 1 minute
By
conversation because
himself.
we have 3 minutes left. This one was sent in from Miles. Y'all know
Oh.
Miles.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love Miles. Financial
Um,
advisor, right?
Financial advisor, yes. Elly De La Cruz and Jazz Chisholm are both overrated.
Elly
Jazz
De La Cruz
Chisholm-
is not overrated.
Yeah,
I
Jazz
can't
Chisholm,
say that about
yes.
Lady Cruz.
I will say that about Jazz Chisholm because I haven't seen enough consistency from him yet. But Elly De La Cruz, especially how he's been terrorizing the bases,
40
he's
stolen
already.
bases already this season.
I know, and I've seen
not
enough
even-
to
oh,
say
it's
that
just
Elly De La
gone.
Cruz has showing no signs of slowing down.
And I'm not going to be one of these
Yeah.
haters out here that are like, oh, Elly De La Cruz only has 40 stolen bases because the bases are larger. No, you know the type of speed and then like the perfect jump you have to have. Look how many times Elly De La Cruz has stolen third. Your jump has to be incredible to do that. It's not about larger bases. The talent that he has to be able to have a feet like 40 stolen
right.
bases at this point in the season is unreal.
We
The
got
problem with
it
that-
before the Zoom ends.
What was it?
The Zoom's about to end. We have to wrap it up.
We
Yeah.
have to wrap it up.
Unfortunately.
Well, thank y'all so much for watching episode 6.
Jason
we had
Barker!
a great time. Well, give it up for
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Jason Barker. Thank you so much for joining the show,
I
man.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, y'all. It was a great time. Thank y'all for having me.
And if y'all want to see more MLB hot take segments, if y'all want to see more fantasy segments, make sure to like and subscribe down below. If y'all are watching the YouTube, if y'all are listening on Spotify, make sure to give the Spotify a follow. Make sure to follow the Instagram. Send us ideas for skits and reels, video ideas. Stay tuned for an interview coming up this weekend with Eric Osberg, a former Rays prospect. You don't want to miss that. But for Andrew, Chase, Jason, and Steven, we will see y'all for episode 7 next week. Peace out, y'all.